For those of you that we're inviting to the VSTE group, the request to join the group or the invitation should appear in that upper right-hand corner of your Second Life screen, just like the request for friendship did. And it's up to you whether you want to join us or not, but we hope you will.
As is always the case, we board members are pleased to pay the entirety of your entry fee.
Okay, according to my clock, it is almost 8 o'clock. So I am going to introduce our speaker. Rob Furman was one of the keynote speakers at the 2014 Face-to-Face VSTE conference. Tonight he is doing a repeat of one of his extremely popular sessions, Techie Tidbits That Won't Break the Bank. He has spoken on VSTE Island and Second Life before about motivating the reluctant reader through technology. There is nothing Rob Furman won't do to help teachers begin using technology. Rob is an educational blogger for the Huffington Post, who was honored as a 20 to watch in the field of educational technology by the National School Board Association, and was named a Tribune Review Newsmaker of the year 2013 for the city of Pittsburgh. Rob has been in education for 20 years. He started as a music director and was now the principal of South Bend Elementary Center, where he has been since 2005. He is the author of Instructional Technology Tools, a professional development plan and reading, technology and visual literacy, available now through VSTE. Oh, is it? Oh, you know what? It's on my cheek, sorry. Thankfully, I'm putting the words out there so you can read it for yourself as well. Please help me in welcoming Rob Furman.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay now? Just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Okay, hi everybody. Somebody give me a yes so I know that you can hear me okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's all I need. Good, thank you. All right. Well, first of all, let me start by making a little change on the bio that you wrote. I will do almost anything to get teachers involved in technology. I want to make sure that I keep a little bit of a reality check on some of that, but I certainly have done some crazy things at my school and a lot of different places in order to get teachers involved in technology. It obviously is it's a big passion of mine, and I know it's obviously a passion of a lot of yours here. I've met a lot of you when I was at VSTE. I also think that this is another great avenue to do some professional development, and we'll actually talk a little bit about professional development in a virtual sense throughout this presentation. Yeah, for those of you that have not met me, my name is Rob Furman. I'm from South Park, Pennsylvania, and I had nothing to do with the cartoon, and I didn't even really know the cartoon until I started working here, and people obviously started asking me a million questions about the cartoon. And to make matters worse, not knowing the cartoon, I ended up naming my second child Kyle. So apparently there's a character in the cartoon that makes that all the worse. So yeah. So with that being said, let's get started. And this presentation is really meant to be more of a forum discussion than it is me talking at you for a long period of time. So I think everyone here has learned how to chat in the global group, so that's good. And I want to make sure that you will I want to make sure that you're asking questions and you're sharing ideas and so forth. Maybe somebody can keep a printout of the conversation on the side so that we can share that with each other. Because I know it goes fairly quickly sometimes on the chat room. Okay. With that being said, Beth is going to be my button pusher here for the presentation. She's been pushing my buttons for a couple of years, so I'm going to give her another shot at it here. Beth, if you wouldn't mind taking us to the next slide. So, usually the best way to start these presentations is to make sure we know what we're talking about. When we're dealing with techie tidbits, the way I define it, it's a small, effective, free website or an application that could assist administrators or teachers to ease or enhance their workload. Now let me get started here by also saying that one thing that I'm really starting to sort of get on the bandwagon, and I just wrote a HuffPost article on some of this stuff, how we're getting to the point now where we love these little apps and these little great technological advances like Study Island and things like that, and we got to be careful because technology is fun, it is cool, but if we're not using it for instruction and we're not using it to let our kids kind of envelop into that 21st century skills, then all we're really doing is making it fun and not necessarily effective. And there's something to be said for fun, by all means, but we have to be careful with that. Go ahead, Beth. So most, if not all of the things that I'm going to talk about today are in my Digo group. You'll be able to find all of the links right there that I discussed. And more than anything, keep in mind, somebody said she can't see the presentation, if somebody wants to help out her a little bit. Keep in mind that all of these links are either free or extraordinarily inexpensive, mainly because we're all in public education and we know that we really can't afford to be buying stuff. So more than anything, we want to make sure that the things we are referring to, the things that we've been sharing, are realistically cost effective, because nobody has money. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Beth, next one. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones, and it's become pretty commonplace now, but it's still one of my favorites. It's called TeamViewer. And really, this is just sort of one of several remote desktop type of applications that are out there now. As administrators, as IT, and for those of us that do smaller group presentations, this is a nice free app to be able to basically take over and command somebody else's computer. Now, the beauty of this, on a personal note, is anybody that has aging parents or aging grandparents and are constantly calling you over because they hit one wrong button, you drive 35 minutes down the road to hit the button and you go back home, this is a lifesaver because all you got to do is put this on their computer, put it on your computer, and you can pretty much get in and help them at any point in time. Now, obviously for ITs, like at my school, they use this a lot so that they don't have to necessarily leave their office if a teacher has a breakdown with some sort of issue on a computer. They just remote into their computer, fix the issue, and it saves obviously them a ton of time. I can also do that with my teachers as well. So there are times that, if I want to get into their computer with them there and they can show me a gradebook issue or something like that, this thing is primarily really a time saver. And that's really the best part of the TeamViewer, and it's free. The other thing that's cool about this is you can put it on a little USB port, and you can carry that sucker wherever you go. It's very small, so it's easy to transport. You can download it very quickly. You can have it on your computer at school, your computer at home, be able to get your stuff at home and back and forth. And I've been using this for a number of years now. Like I said, there's a lot of versions of this out there. Many are built into computers now, as a matter of fact, but this is a nice free one to use. Go ahead, Beth. All right, this is sort of my example of what I was talking about when it comes to TeamViewer, because even my own dad does this to me. Yes, very funny, son. Just fix the damn thing, will you? Because we know everybody needs help out there, and we have to be the ones that are willing to do it. Those of us that know how to do it should certainly be able to help those that are struggling. And really, that's what VSTE Island is really all about. And that's really what I felt being sort of slowly becoming a part of this VSTE family that I absolutely just adore, is they are willing to help anybody at any time with anything. You want to learn how to do Minecraft? You come here. You want to learn about virtual worlds, open Sims? You come here. I mean, they're just remarkable when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I do this around the country, so and I'm not nice enough to compliment people for no reason. So you can trust me when I tell you got one heck of a group here, and you're certainly very fortunate to have these people to help you through this stuff. Go ahead, Beth. All right, this is another one. Good for teachers, good for administrators. Good if you're going to get yourself into a difficult situation, but we're all adults here. We're all professionals. Make sure we're using this properly, of course. But this is called Gorilla Mail, and what this does is this gives you like a 15-minute email address. Now that can be used for a lot of different things. If you want to send an email that you don't necessarily want to have a return on, hey, that's the way to do it. But the way I use this more than anything is I use this in order to knock out all of my spam. Because a lot of these apps and stuff that we like to use and we like to play around with always ask for some sort of registration. And then you're constantly getting bombarded with all of that spam, and spam drives me insane. So what I do is I use a Gorilla Mail. I create one of these email addresses. I'll go, log on. It always asks for a confirmation. I'm sure you know why. You want a confirmation. The reason you do a confirmation is so that they know you've got a live email address so they can start spamming you. And then 15 minutes later, they can spam that until they're blue in the face, and it doesn't end up in my junk mail constantly. So it's a good little bit of a website there in order to sort of keep your inbox clean. And since everything I'm going to be inviting you to go and check right now asks for registration, I think this is one of the good ones to start off with because you don't have to go through all the crap spam after the fact. Okay, who's that? DJ, you got seated. Good job. All right, this can be tricky. I understand that. Second Life takes some getting used to. Okay, how about the next one, Beth? Disposable. This is another example of the same thing that we just talked about. It's another very easy, short-term inbox. Again, used properly. I know some of you ornery people out there are starting to come up with some ideas, but use it properly. Go ahead, next slide. So I think this is actually my wife here who wrote this particular one. I want my husband to pay more attention to me. Got any perfume that smells like a computer? Yeah, I think those of us that get ourselves heavily involved in technology could get stuck in this sometimes, but it is a lot of fun. Go ahead, Beth. Which is the one Hillary used. That's a good one, Dave. Okay, HassleMe. Now, HassleMe just sent an update to this like yesterday, so I'm not sure how much has changed, but this is a really nice one for those of you that have something you have to do on a consistent basis. I use this for walkthroughs, and I use this for observations because I constantly want to remind myself to get out there and make sure I'm doing the paperwork that I have to be doing, as opposed to, I love hanging around with the kids, but there's work to be done as well. What you do is you write HassleMe roughly every 4, 5, 7 days if you want it every week, 30 days if you want it once a month. Write yourself a little note, and then this will kick an email back to you once every time if you have that set amount of days, just to remind you whatever you need to do. I set it up for once a month. Remind me to check to make sure I've got that I'm on top of my observations or things like that. Again, use with caution because yes, you could put somebody else's email in there, but we would never do anything rotten like that. So make sure that we use it properly. But if used properly, it is really nice to be able to have that sort of general reminder show up in your email, because nowadays, my email also rings my cell phone, goes to my desktop, goes to my laptop, goes to my iPad. So it's a great way to get easy reminders. Go ahead, Beth. Okay, remember the milk. This is a good one for basic reminders, and I've used this one, and again, there are lots of other versions of the same concept out there. It's more the concept that we're looking at than the actual link. But the nice thing about this is it's a very easy way to set yourself up with lists. Teachers and administrators were constantly getting bombarded with a litany of things we have to get done in a certain amount of time when we have to get it done. And this is just a real nice way to keep it handy. The thing that I really like about this is taking away my need to be carrying around a notebook and pen whenever I'm walking through the hallways. I could just pull up my cell phone or my iPad, whatever I have in my hand at the time, hit it, and then fill out whatever I need to do, because we know we're constantly getting stopped and saying, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you grab that? Hey, can you send me this? And by the time you get back to the office, I forget at least 4 of the 5 things that I was supposed to do. So this is a nice way to sort of keep it in my back pocket on my cell phone, and I can always be marking things down. And once I do it, check it off, and it's done. It's a really easy organizer, not only for education, but really for daily life. It's a nice way to keep yourself consistently organized. How are we doing out there? Everybody still with me? All right, good. Okay, let's keep going. Go ahead, next one, Beth. This is one of my favorite cartoons, because, we need to start making some changes. And in the keynote of VSTE, I talked about the need for changes, and I think we need to also look at, conjugation of verbs, because this is a critical one. The conjugation of the verb to listen has changed. It's now I tunes, you tunes, he, she, it tunes, we tunes, you tunes, they tunes. Got to make sure that we make those changes in our English language too, right? Go ahead and change the slide, Beth. Thanks. This is one of my favorite time savers. And one thing everybody in the world has, if you work with email, doesn't matter if you're a principal, teacher, mom at home, whatever, we all deal with tons and tons of email. The nice thing about this is, when I get to my school, I probably have 35 emails that I got to go through, and that's conservative, very conservative. So when I hit that, let's say I go down to email number 5. And I read it, and I want to do something with it. Well, I don't necessarily want to do something with it right that minute, because I have 30 other emails that I have to get through to see what else is critical. Using this Hit Me Later, I can start to organize my email based on not flags or unread and read, because all those little numbers on the left side of my email drive me insane. But what I do is I send it to Hit Me Later, and then it sends it back to me as an email, as a brand new email, at a certain amount of time. Now, you can only go up to 24 hours. So what I do is, first thing in the morning, like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll start divvying up my emails. If it's something I want to do, say at lunchtime, I'll put 4, the number 4, at hitmelater.com, and it'll come back to me around lunch. If I want to do it at the end of the day, I'll put 8 at hitmelater.com, and it'll come back to me towards the end of the day. If I want to look at it again tomorrow morning, obviously that would be 24 at hitmelater.com. So it's nice because you can start organizing what's critical versus what's not, and be able to see it and get it out of there, because you know what happens. If number 6 email is something you want to look at, by the time you get down to number 20, you end up getting yourself confused. Yes, VB Librarian, all you do is you forward it to that new email address, 24 or whatever number you put in front of that will be the amount of hours it comes back to you. Up to 24 hours, and that's free. Now, if you need a pro version, you can back one up to a month. But if you need an executive version and you need to use an email up to a year, like if I don't need to see it in a year, I don't want to see it. If I need to see something a year later, I'm figuring if they need it bad enough, they'll write back to me. But all you have to do for the basic and free is you get up to 24 hours, and it really is. It really keeps my sanity. Like I said, especially in the morning when you're looking at all of those emails, there's things you got to get to. Space them out in certain amounts, in certain amount of times. That's right, Thunder. You got it, buddy. Okay, Smilebox. This is another easy one. Again, well, there's my dog. Sorry. And then again, this is another, lots of examples of these types of things out there. I just happen to use Smilebox because it was an easy one, and my wife actually originally had an account here, so I started using it. When you're dealing with, let's say, teacher to student, teacher to parent, principal to teacher, you can certainly involve whichever one you are in terms of being an administrator or a teacher here. But you always have somebody that you should be patting on the back, giving them an attaboy, being positive with them in one way or the other. These things are really nice. You see, create little free slideshows or free comments, free e-cards is what they're called here. And you just sort of create a plethora of these for different things. I have one that's on my computer that's created for after I have an observation with a teacher. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in. I really appreciate that type of thing. And teachers really appreciate getting that little e-card note that gives them sort of that home personal type of feeling. And the nice thing about Smilebox and the other ones is you can pre-create a lot of these, so you don't have to make them on the fly. All you have to do is throw in your email address, pick the one you want to send, and send it on its way. I know teachers use these with parents a lot, especially when parents, they'll come into the class and help. They have pre-created e-cards. They send it out, throw the email address in. It gives them a little bit of a kudos, makes them feel good, and it makes you look good in terms of public relations, obviously, when it comes to dealing with the parents. So it's a nice, easy way to be able to give out that fast positive. Okay. Poor DJ's having some rough time here. We doing okay over there, DJ? We getting him where he needs to be, or she needs to be? I'm not sure which. Well, I hope so. I hope you're all right, DJ. Okay. Okay, good. All right, TouchCast. TouchCast has had a lot of different versions in terms of the front of the website. So I know it looks different than this right now, but TouchCast is a really, really cool app. I use it on my iPad. I think you can also use it right on a desktop as well. I've always used it on my iPad. It's touchcast.com, Beth. Yeah, there it is. This is really cool. One thing that I love to do with my kids, and I love my teachers, I guess I should say, have them doing with the kids, is making sure that we're using technology for creativity, for creating, for problem solving, and those type of things. I have a real issue with apps and sites like Study Island, for that type of thing. Is anybody a big Study Island user here? I hope not. I don't want to offend anybody. But, there's a reason why Study Island is called Island and not Study Community or Study City or anything like that. And I don't know any teacher in their right mind that wants to throw a kid on an island and keep them, make them responsible for their education. And unfortunately, a lot of times that's what happens with these things like Study Island is, we think we're doing the kids a service by putting them on whatever X site and letting them work for 30, 40 minutes, but they're kids. They're not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be teaching them. We're supposed to be getting them interacting. And that's what the beauty of these technologies are. It's not that you can put them on something and let them self-teach. That's not the point. The point is to get them to be problem-solving and creating using these technologies. TouchCast is an excellent example of that. What TouchCast does is it basically gives you, we'll call it a newsroom setting, where you can videotape yourself. You can have little widgets come up, like when you think of a newscaster on a TV, you always have a little picture that pops up beside their head. You can do that with TouchCast. That box can be a poll that you can poll your audience while you're there. It could be a picture, obviously. It could be a website. It could be pretty much anything that you create in advance. And then you can record yourself doing the news. You can get your name at the bottom, the little bottom banner, and it's super, super simple. I've had second and third graders using it, and they just have an absolute ball with it. And we make them do like newscasts on whatever project or things they're doing, as opposed to doing some of the old-fashioned things. But it works out better for them. Let me see. I have a question. Do kids have to join it, or can you send your newscast to them? What we've always done is we've created it for them on like a master login, and then we take it off as a video and throw it up on YouTube or TeacherTube or one of those places where I know the kids can get to it and show their parents and things like that. No, they do not have to join, and I would actually recommend them not joining. I like to try to keep as much to a minimum as possible. And even if they do join, normally, like if there's things that we do have to have them join, we'll create an email for them, we'll create a password for them, we'll hand them out and collect them, and hand them out and collect them. At the elementary level, that's better for us. Some of the older kids obviously can handle more different than my K-4 can, certainly. But anyways, TouchCast, very cool, a lot of fun. Great ways to have kids do some performance-based projects. Just really cool. Okay, let's move along. Who's next here? Oh, this is a bad one. I love this. This was a new one, actually. I just found not all too long ago. This is really cool. This is fun. What this does is, you can have the kids create a timeline. And it sounds like simple enough, but this timeline becomes completely interactive, and think of the possibilities that you can have these kids create. It's not just necessarily a chronological timeline, which was actually my first thought. I looked and said, social studies teachers would love this. But you can do so much more. Do a step-by-step how-to. Do a step-by-step debate. When you're talking about having to have kids kind of think out and organize their ideas for debate. Use a timeline. How would that work? So again, so many possibilities here, and it's like ridiculously simple. You hit the button on the timeline, you get the little block, you fill in the block with images or graphs or charts or words, and you move right along. Very simple to edit, and really a lot of fun, and the kids love it too. Very good one, timeline. Go ahead, let's hit next. Desi, all of these apps are available on my website or on the Digo website that I gave you earlier. But if you just remember my last name, Furman, www.furmanr.com, and then you go to the links, and it'll take you right to the Digo site that has all of these things set on there. So you can get to all of these apps that I'm discussing. Okay, this is a fun one too. Okay, thanks, Beth. This is a really cool one too. This is nice because I'm cheap. And for any of you that are also cheap, you will like this as well. This is called Apps Gone Free. Pretty much has nothing to do with education other than the fact that I like it because I'm cheap. What this does is you put this app on your iPad or your iPhone or whatever the case may be. And at Frugal. At the end, every day, it'll give you 5 or 6 or whatever apps that have gone free that day. Now, it may just be for that day, it may be for a couple days, but I can't tell you how many awesome apps I've found for education and everything else because of this app's gone free. I check it every day. It gives me 4 or 5 free apps for that day. I'll take them, maybe I'll play with them a little bit, like them, don't like them, keep them, ditch them, whatever. But it really is a great way to find all the free apps out there and give you some things to play with. Another great place to look is Cool Tools for School, which is a nice one. And there's another one that's just for kids that tells you free ones as well. I'll get that to you, Beth. You can add it later. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's another one that's just kids stuff. No, they don't necessarily have in-app purchases. They may, but they may not. They're free because they just, a special, or maybe they're older, or maybe they're trying to get a clientele base set up. I've gotten some of the best apps off of this, and I've never had to pay a penny. I'm trying to think of one that would be a good example. Educanon. I'm not sure if I talk about that later, but I found Educanon on here for free. It was originally a $10 app. They just had a special, so they're like, all right, we're going to put it out there for free for like 24 hours. And I just happened to find it on here, and it's an awesome app. So, no, there's no like hidden agendas or anything like that in terms of trying to get money out of you. It truly are just free. It's a matter of timing. Okay. Outrage was free on Christmas Eve, says Mandy. Okay, hey, we'll see you, Lauren. Take it easy, buddy. All right, can somebody hit the next one, please? Okay, for those of you that are into civics, or if you are into social studies, or government, or anything like that, start clicking. Give me a yes, give me a hi, give me a yay, give me a something so that I know who I'm talking to out there. I got 1, 2, 3. All right. That's it, huh? All right, how about if you're interested in government? How about if you feel the kids should be interested in the government? All right, this one is ridiculous. I absolutely love this, and I have so much fun with this app. It's just silly. All of my teachers are using this now. Mainly my ELA teachers, my English language arts teachers, and I'll explain to you how they use it here in a minute. This is called Countable, C-A-U-N-T-A-B-L-E, Countable. It is an app, and what Countable does, countable, just countable, no plural, just countable. What this does is, it gives you, first thing it does is it asks for your zip code. And you put your zip code in, and it tells you who your congressmen and senators and state and federal people are for your region. And then it tells you all of the bills that are going on in Congress or wherever at this exact moment. So if you look on the left, when I did this, should undocumented immigrants receive Social Security benefits legalized by the executive order? That was something that was going to be voted on at that time. So with that, you pick one that you find particularly interesting, or have your student pick one that they find particularly interesting, or some other things I'll tell you about in a second here that you can do. And then it gives you on the right, it gives you an overview of that entire option, that vote that's going to be coming up. It gives you a little bit on the argument of the people that are in favor of it, what do they say? The argument that's opposed, what are they saying? A little brief synopsis of what exactly it means, like what is this particular vote. It gives you, if there's a cost involved, it gives you that breakdown. It pretty much tells you a little bit about everything in terms of what Congress and how they're going to vote on it. At that point, you get to vote yay or nay. If, however you vote, you will come up with an automatic email, and you can write, or you could just push enter, or you can give your opinion a little bit if you want, and that email goes directly to your local congressman or senator or whomever that's going to be voting on that bill. Now, that's cool enough. But just to add to it a little bit, you can then go in another section of this app, and you can see how your congressmen and senators and so forth are voting. And are they voting the way you think they should be voting, or are they predominantly voting against you? This is cool in a variety of ways. One, it's cool because you really get to you get to see how these people are voting, and you get to make better decisions on how you are going to vote for your people. You know, if they predominantly vote opposite of what you're suggesting all the time, then obviously that's not somebody that you would want to vote for. If you see that they trend more, in the same thinking that you are, well then yeah, maybe that is somebody you'd want to vote for. So that's kind of cool in that respect. Beth, I saw your question pop up. Yes, they do get the email that you send. So the concept is that you're giving your opinion to your constituencies, is giving their opinion out, and that you can also track and see how they're doing as well. Now, high school kids, you can see there's a lot of options here. They can give opinions, they can debate it out. What we do at the younger age level is we pick some of the easier ones. For example, one that was up was should the moon privatize? Should we privatize the moon? Like let McDonald's go up and those people, things like that. It was kind of out there, but nonetheless it was something that they were going to be voting on. So we put some of the easier ones down, and we let the kids pretty much have their own debate on it, their ideas. We'll read to them, what is it? What's the idea in favor? What's the idea of opposed? And then we let them have a little debate, and then we decide as a class, do we go yay or do we go nay? And then we send the email, and then we track it and we watch. So whenever the vote does go down, we'll go back and we'll see, did they vote the way we want to, or vote the way we didn't want them to? And we obviously start a very interesting discussion at that level. So it's just a really, really cool app for not only keeping your government accountable, but also to have those excellent opportunities for debate. Debates are fun, and it's certainly obviously something that I think the Common Core is pushing, for that idea of being able to think outside the box and be able to discuss and argue and persuade and debate. But sometimes it's hard to come up with topics. Well, these are rich, realistic, on the table for our government topics. So that alone is a bonus. Okay, thank you. Beth, move on. Next one. Wolfram Alpha. This one is a little tricky, but it's a great, awesome search engine. It can do all kinds of crazy searches. It can do all kinds of really cool calculations. It's really it's not a Google. It's a lot more complicated and organized in a very different way than the typical search engine. It's very highly academic. The thing that I say about Wolfram Alpha is, for as cool as it is, it's actually a little bit hard to use. It's a little bit hard to use. So we use this one with caution. I would say this is more for your learning, maybe more so than handing it out to the kids, unless they're high school. High school kids could probably use this much better than any of the younger ones. Okay, moving on. Okay, this is actually a friend of mine. This is Mike's site, and it's really a cool site for just trying to scavenge and find cool apps. It's called EdShelf, www.edshelf.com. And this is nice because you can do all kinds of different searches through it and sort of find exactly what you're looking for in terms of cool apps for whatever the case may be. The other thing that's cool about this is if you know of an app and you don't see it on here, you can write a little blurb and put it on here. So it's just tons of educators throwing their ideas out there to be able to give each other the best opportunity to find some of the cooler apps that are out there. It's a great place to go just to do some searching, and it's easy, real easy to search, which is nice. Thunder, hard crash, somebody. That hurts. Okay, let's go on to the next one, Beth. Okay, ePals. Oh, sorry, Thunder. Sorry, Chica. Is that better? Yeah, my Spanish is off a little bit. I haven't been doing my Duolingo lately. I gotta get back on. The ePals. ePals is really cool, and one thing that I talked about at the keynote was the idea of you really need to transcend the walls of your classroom. When we're just keeping ourselves into these four walls, we're really doing our students a disservice. Because the world is just way too small now to be in that little tiny box. The kids need to be able to get out, and some of the easiest ways to do that are things like ePals, for example. ePals is really cool. Again, totally no cost, and you hook up somebody and you call somebody. And they will send you 30 emails, let's say, one for each kid. You would obviously control those. And then they'll ask you, well, who would you like to hook up with? And you can hook up with just about any classroom in the world. I've seen them hook up with people pretty much all over the place. So think about that for a minute. Not just the interest of shooting emails back and forth, even though that's very critical. When I talk about reading and writing, the process in my other presentation, but we really have to think about this. What do we want our kids to do when it comes to typing? Let's think about that for a second and generating an idea. We want them to be able to read something, an article or letter or whatever. We want them to be able to read something. We want them to be able to comprehend it. We want them to be able to come up with an opinion, an idea, or a thought on their own. And then you want them to be able to regurgitate it back and send a complete thought back out using the writing process. That is what an email is. If you have somebody that you're discussing on the other end of an email, that's an essay. Every time you write something, that's an essay. That's a journal entry. That's all these things we want the kids to do. But now they can do it with a partner in China. They can do it with a partner in England. They can do it with a partner in Italy. And that's the cool part of dealing with this technology, is to be able to spread our wings a little bit. Think about this for a second. Let's say you're reading a book on the American Revolution. Wouldn't that be interesting to have the kids have a conversation with their ePal from England? I'm betting they probably have a little different stance on that American Revolution than maybe we do. Those type of conversations are so rich, and those are things that we need to get our kids involved in. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Skype is different, but Skype is obviously, Skype for Education is obviously a huge one as well. That's video. ePals is email conversation, but Skype, Hangout, Google Hangout, obviously, FaceTime, all very important, very critical elements to getting this technology from a distance. In my reading presentation, I always tell people I'm sorry, we're just presenting today. All right, no, but the Skype is nonetheless a great thing to use. It is no cost, and I have used it with my reading presentation. I talk about I would always be more than willing to go into anybody's classroom via Skype, Hangout, whatever, and have conversations with your kids. We could do a debate. We could have me read a book that they're reading, or we could have a conversation about the book. It's those types of things that really make things very rich. And I guess I will do just about anything. Okay, policy tool. These are for the administrators in the world, and any teacher that has their own website. This is very nice. You hit start now, put in a few bits of information, and it'll pop out a legal policy. Maybe for social media, they've got one for privacy, and those are the things that are just safe to have on you or on your website, just in case there would ever be, God forbid, any sort of problem. But it's very simple thing to use. If you go to my website and you go down to my legal section, you'll see where my privacy policy is and my social media policy, and they both came from this app. It takes about 5 minutes, and it's totally worth doing, because at the end we don't want to get ourselves ever in trouble with things that we're saying and doing online inadvertently. Okay, let's go on to the next one. We've got about 20 minutes. I think I'm okay. We're getting close here. Private note. This is a self-destructing note. It's kind of cool. What I do with these things is if I need to send something quickly to a teacher or quickly to a parent, I don't want to be something that is kept forever and ever and ever. It's just something that I want to send them something quickly. I use this. Obviously, this is the unfortunate side of administration sometimes, but you want to be able to say a note and know that it's not something that they're wanting to print out everything you're saying, every word that you're saying. And that's really something that's hard for teachers and administrators right now is everything that we email and everything that we text is scrutinized, and it's one of those things where they end up it becomes a problem, and it drives all of us crazy that we can't have a normal conversation without it ending up all over everybody's email addresses and things like that. So this is nice just for dealing with some privacy. Okay, yeah, it is a little 007 VB librarian. You're right, but sometimes you need it. So there it is. Okay, next. Okay, there are the icons to click. It's a chalkboard. Do you send it to an email address? J-Bro, yes, to answer your question, yes. So this brings me up to a funny story. My wife and I, even though we're very much into technology, we just recently, about a month ago, got a flat screen up in our bedroom. Prior to that, we had one of those big, on the floor, like 4 foot long by 3 foot wide box television. I mean, this thing was freaking huge. And it sat on the ground. This thing was enormous. Well, one day we were having a family movie up in the bedroom, the two boys, my wife and I, and we told my littlest one, Kyle, we said, hey, Kyle, go turn on the DVD, because the DVD, it was running, but you had to hit the play button, because you could see the screen, you could see the splash screen, it said play, titles, subtitles, all that kind of stuff at the bottom. And I said, go over and hit play, buddy, assuming that he was going to go over to the DVD player and hit the play button. Well, silly me, this is a boy who grew up on an iPad. He went over and started hitting the TV screen where the word play was, trying to get that sucker to turn on. And of course, my wife and I were howling because it totally missed us, because we didn't think twice about it, but he was doing what he needs to do. He hits the iPad button, and that's how it works. So that's kind of funny about the whole chalkboard thing. That kind of hits home with me. Go hit the next one, Beth. Okay, author stream. A lot of times, for some reason, PowerPoints. Yeah, absolutely. Jasmine, I think that's how you say that. Yeah, and he was in kindergarten when he did it too, so I believe it. The author stream, back to author stream. A lot of times when you're dealing with PowerPoints and presentations, it's hard to get them back and forth to each other because they end up being really large. Most of the emails won't take it. Dropbox, maybe you have it, maybe you don't. Box, different things like that. This is just another way to be able to do that. But then you can also broadcast from here, which is cool. You can create presentations, put them into author stream, and then share them out with other people. That's just one of a lot of locations that do this type of thing now. This one just happens to be fairly simple, and again, one of my favorite words, free. You can get premium accounts for this, but I never had the need to. But it's very user friendly when it comes to dealing with PowerPoints. I don't do many PowerPoints anymore. Most of my stuff's Keynote now, but when I did, this was an easy place to be able to use some of those broadcast capabilities. Go ahead, Beth. Okay, this is a particularly enjoyable one. It's called Decide Already. This is a nice thing that we have the kids use to try to come up with making a decision. What this is it gives you sort of this open chart. It sort of gives you this open chart, and it kind of forces you to think about both sides of the situation and sort of pros and cons, and then it sort of helps you boil yourself down to a good decision for whatever that might mean sometimes when it comes to decisions. But it's a very cool way to do this. My teachers have used this with students, and I've even used it with my teachers. Whenever we're looking at something we want to make some decisions on, I've used this in professional development. So go ahead, Beth. How many more slides do we have left as well, Beth? I'm going to make sure I'm saving time. 34 total. What number are we on? Okay, good. Go ahead, hit it. We got a boogie. Scoop it. I love to curate information. And I'll tell you, one of the best things about curating information for other people is the fact that it makes me read, and when I read a ton. I read before I go to bed. I got my iPad. I'm reading all these articles. All the ones that I like, I throw it in this thing called Buffer. It's a great way to not only keep myself current, but it's also a great way to meet and share the ideas that I find important with other people. Scoop is one way that you could do that. There's obviously it's fun to be scooped. There's a lot of different ways to do that. This is just one of many. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is one of my favorite locations to be able to look for articles. It's called Flipboard. How many of you have heard of Flipboard? I'm sure some people have heard of Flipboard. I've heard a lot of banging there. I'm guessing yes. Flipboard is really cool because you can control the topics that you get to see. I love it because this is sort of my go-to magazine whenever I feel like reading. I know it's going to have technology. I know where it's coming from, and I've created a magazine that really works for me and my interests. One thing that I, in terms of curation, is the fact that I really push, obviously, not only education, but leadership and things like that. So I've got a niche, and there are magazines out there that I can buy, but why do that whenever I could create my own niche magazine that's perfect for me? We've also had flip magazines made by our teachers with their particular interests, and then we'll kind of share those out and kind of have a plethora of magazines that are out there based on whatever interest anybody has really in my building at the time. We can pretty much find somebody that's curated a magazine on that. Go ahead. That's just another example of some of the things I have in my Flipboard. Not interesting. Go ahead, move on. Okay, one of my coolest ever, I love this. I wish I had my email or my address for Paperline. I actually have a newspaper. I got several newspapers on here. One is called Furman Educational Resources. It's just chock full of great articles. I have one that's called Leading Across Troubled Waters, all for leadership articles and things like that. And you can subscribe to my magazines and pretty much get everything that I curate. Obviously, it's another type of version of Flipboard. This comes out more of a newspaper type of look. I also use this sometimes with my parents, my school parents. I have a Parent Academy one where I've really narrowed down the feeds and things that come in that just basically give me great articles for parents. And a lot of my parents in my building have subscribed to it, so I know they're getting really interesting articles and things like that. They're going to help them parent better with their children. No, it does not have to be daily. It can be daily, weekly, monthly. There's all sorts of different options in there, and again, completely free. Then please check out mine, and I'll try to get the thing to Beth. But it's already curated for you. It's absolutely no charge, obviously, and it's cool that you can just sort of have that communication. Thank you, Thunder. That's very nice of you. Go ahead. Let's move on to the next one here. Oh, there it is right there. That's my particular one. You can see where it says subscribe to the updates. You put that in, hit the button, and you get it. That's Furman Educational Resources. It's a little bit old now because I put this presentation together a little while ago, but you can see some of the type of articles that you get. That's my ugly mug over there on the right-hand side. And it's just really nice to be able to get a little bit of everything right in your email address, right in your email. Go ahead, next. Buffer. Okay, Buffer is just a great way to do some curating and be able to stockpile curation without having to be pushing a button every hour. If you get an hour, you got like 20 cool things. If you get a Buffer account, you can put them in there, and then it'll send them out like one every 2 hours, one every 3 hours for you, as opposed to you having to wait and sending them at incremental times. Go ahead, move on. I'm running out of time. There's something I know we got to get to. Move on. That's a silly one. Okay, here's the one I wanted. Pinterest. This one, I know everybody knows Pinterest, and I know everybody thinks it's a pretty cool site. I know people like it. I love it. But we do something a little bit different with it at our school that I want to share with you. What we did one time with that professional development day, I'm pretty sure my superintendent thought I was nuts. But I asked her if I could do a professional development half day on Pinterest. And she sort of said, okay, I guess so. I said, thank you. So what we did is I required every teacher to make a Pinterest account and to pick a topic of interest and to start curating that topic of interest. The other thing we did is we started to share all of these boards. What we ended up creating was pretty magical. I don't really think at the time we knew we were doing this. What we ultimately wanted to do was to be able to share ideas. But what it turned into was all of us, if we're at night, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and we pin something, we all get it. So we've ultimately turned it into sort of a 24/7 professional development platform. There's been articles that I've put into Pinterest at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and when I walk into the building in the morning, I hear people having a conversation about it already. So it's just such a nice way to sort of have that 24/7 constant interaction when you're dealing with great curated content, great ideas. It's a wonderful way to share. And it's easy, and at the elementary school, there's 50 of us, and out of the 50, 3 are guys. So the rest are girls, and they absolutely love this Pinterest. So it works for them, works for us, and the 3 guys, we suffer through it. Okay, move on. Oh, okay, so looks like we do the last link here. This is all of my information. So if it's anything you need from me in any way, you've got my LinkedIn, my blog, my Facebook, email, Google, On the left, I think it's my Twitter. Underneath, behind the chat. Up top, you can find my website. You can find all the links and notes from this to there. I even have my cell phone up there, 412-999-7449. The reason I put that there, people think I'm crazy, but the reason I put that there is because I just spent all of this time telling you how important it is to work with each other and how to sort of transcend the walls. I think I'd be a little bit of a hypocrite if I didn't give you every means of being able to contact me. If you want to text me or call me, you're always more than welcome to. Just make sure you preface it with who you are. so I know who you are, and I know what avenue we're heading here. If you look on the front there, those are my 2 books, Instructional Technology Tools. You can get it. You can get that at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, pretty much all the typical places. And the one that's in front there, it says Technology Reading and Digital Literacy. That is coming out this April, next month. It is being published by VSTE. I'm very excited about it. I'm hoping and praying that maybe I can even come back down to Virginia next year and do another keynote for you guys on that, and maybe we can have some books out there, do some book signing, have a good time. I would love to. I hope I'm invited. So that's it for me. If you need anything else, again, please reach out to me. I'm here to help with anything and everything. Thank you.
I'm blown away. So everybody who's new who doesn't know how to clap, simply type /CLAP and your avatar will clap for Rob. Thank you so much. That was wonderful and amazing introduction to Second Life for many of these people who are here from Virginia Beach. So we thank you.
So are you warming up down there at all? You guys still have a crazy time of snow or anything?
It was like spring. Today was
Today was the first nice day, but I tell you, it has been so bad around here. It just feels like we've been under tons and tons of snow.
Yeah, it was great today. I had to be out in the car in the middle of the day, and it was pleasant. No rain, no precipitation.
Oh, that's great.
It was great.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I gotta go get my kids to bed now. So, thank you all, and please keep in touch. Beth, I'll talk to you tomorrow, I'm sure. And if anybody needs anything, if you want to friend my avatar right now, if you know how, you're very welcome to friend me. And when I'm on, I'll be more than happy to talk and chat or whatever else you may need. If you don't know how to friend me yet, I'm sure Beth can explain it to you even when I'm not online. But by all means, anything you need, just please feel free to find me. You've got to take the first step to find me.
Thanks again. We really
You're very
appreciate
welcome. I'm just answering a few friends that will turn off my mic now. Thanks, everybody.
If any of you are frustrated because your computer is slow now, maybe you're typing and the words aren't coming in until later, this is because there's so many people here. We're so condensed. This doesn't happen like this usually, so don't let it make you not want to try Second Life again. It's just, I mean, I crashed twice and had to restart my computer, so even for us who've been around a long time, this happens. It's called lag.
Welcome to lag. We do hope you'll think about coming back and joining us again some Monday evening. If you were a member or if you did join the group, the VSTE group, and hopefully you'll see notices coming, letting you know what's going on in Second Life here on VSTE Island. And if you did not get an invite to the group and you want one, just type it in chat and I'll try to send you one.
I'm really lagged now. If you want to stand up and move, someplace at the bottom of your screen you should see a button that says stand. And then you might be able to move. If you're having extreme lag, you might not be able to move. Another thing you can do is click the map button at the bottom of your screen. Do they have a map button, Jazz?
Yes, they do. There is a map button at the bottom of the screen. There's also a walk, run, and fly button that can help them move around if necessary. However, the arrow keys tend to work better.
So I was going to suggest that if you want to get out of here, click the map button. You'll see a little map of VSTE Island, and you could double-click someplace else on the island where there aren't all these green dots, and you would go to that part of the island and you can look around. We have Jamestown Fort. We have the 3 ships that came from England to Jamestown. We have Powhatan Village, Natural Bridge, Relay Caverns. So there's a lot to see on the island. Or you can go back another day where nobody else is here. Or meet us next Monday.
And if you want to fly, this is a good time to fly.
Yeah, just for a Mac, it's function and up air, and off you go.